Hi and welcome back to Superfox Education. Today I'm going to be starting chemistry, GCSE Chemistry, and we're going to be doing the whole course in order. So starting with topic 1, which is the periodic table, elements, compounds, mixtures and molecules. So today I'm going to be talking to you about the first lesson, which is explaining and giving some examples of what elements, compounds, mixtures and molecules are. So, by the end of this video, you will be able to explain and describe what is meant by an element, compound, mixture and molecule, and hopefully give some examples. So, let's have a look at an element. So, the periodic table shows us all the elements there are, and there's around 120 of them. So, here we've got the whole periodic table, which shows us all the elements that are made, and it's constantly increasing as more elements are being made. So what actually is an element? In an element, all the atoms are the same. So if I had sulfur, for example, if I had 4 atoms of sulfur, they're all sulfur's an element, so all the atoms would be the same. There'd be the same number as protons, neutrons, and electrons in the atom, and we'll have a look at calculating numbers of protons, neutrons and electrons in a later video. Each element has a symbol, and the first letter of the symbol is always written as a capital letter. So for example, going back to sulfur, sulfur is written as capital S. If there's a second letter, like in magnesium, Mg, the G is always a lowercase letter, so the second letter in a chemical symbol is always the lowercase letter. Now, compounds. If we take atoms of magnesium and atoms of sulfur and chemically combine them together, then it becomes magnesium sulfide. That's not sodium oxide, it's supposed to say magnesium sulfide, which is a compound. Compounds are 2 or more elements chemically combined together in fixed proportions. Now, fixed proportion just means it's got to be 1-to-1 relationship. So there's got to be a 1-to-1 ratio. So if I had 1 atom of sulfur and 1 atom of magnesium, they are chemically combined in fixed proportions. Compounds usually have completely different properties to the elements they're made from. Magnesium is a shiny metal, and sulfur is normally a gas, which, because we'll be looking at boiling and melting points later in this topic. If we want to separate a compound, then we have to use a chemical reaction to do this, and this is not always easy to do. So for example, we'll have to use electrolysis. Electrolysis we'll be looking at in topic 4, which is all about chemical changes. So let's move on to mixtures. So in a mixture, we have different elements or compounds that are not chemically combined together. The difference between a mixture and a compound is that a compound is chemically combined together, whereas a mixture is not chemically combined together. You must remember the difference. And again, if we want to separate a mixture, then we use a physical separation technique rather than chemical reaction. And we'll be looking at physical separation techniques in a later video in this topic. So these are the 5 physical separation techniques: simple distillation, fractional distillation, chromatography, filtration and crystallization. Molecules. So finally, molecules. A molecule has any elements chemically joined together. So if we had NPK fertilizers, that's nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium, because N is nitrogen, P is phosphorus and K is potassium. If they're all chemically combined together, they will be a molecule.